Hi, and welcome to 50 Shades of Blonde. I'm Missy Day,
And I'm Jill Branson.
and we're coming to you from WCOBM.TV. And I'm so excited. So we have with us our good friend, Deborah Betts.
Yay!
I'm so excited too. I actually feel kind of left out. I didn't know we were supposed to.
I'm sorry. I don't have anything.
I feel
Props in
naked.
I do have props in my car.
We forgot the blonde wig
Darn
thing. Oh well, next
very
time.
excited.
That'll
to be
be in
here.
the next.
Well, so I'm so glad to have you on, and I have to say I'm so proud of you for being on too. So tell us a little bit about Deborah Betts, and most importantly, Deborah is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to
Boy, is
nutrition
she.
and your gut health, and so I'm so glad you're on so you can share that with everybody.
I am very excited to share what I know about health because I spent so many years trying every diet under the sun, this remedy, that remedy, and all I ever did was get sicker and fatter. And until I learned that the food I was eating on my plate and the stress that I put myself under all the time and the lack of sleep because I could, burn the candle at both ends.
Mm-hmm.
And someone told me one time I wasn't as bright as I thought I was by doing that. I said, oh, I get it. And so I used to say, oh, I can sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
And then I figured out that if I didn't hurry up and get some sleep, I'd be
You'd
dead
be
much
dead pretty
sooner.
soon.
And so I just went on, my parents both died of degenerative diseases. 100 years ago, people died of infectious diseases or catastrophic illness or something. But today we die or we experience symptoms and illness because of our lifestyle choices.
Right.
So it's everything that we do and say and think and eat, drink, all that has an impact on our health today and our health tomorrow. And so, do you want me to take a breath?
Yes, that would be good. So let me ask you this question. So at what point in time do you think that we made this shift from healthy food to unhealthy food, and where are we at as far as people having awareness of what we're actually eating?
There are some times when I think everybody knows because the people I talk to, everybody knows. But I've been acutely aware lately that a lot of people just go about their daily life, go to the grocery store, buy food, and they're not aware that the food on their plate is not the same food that my grandparents ate.
That's right.
And I would say that shift started somewhere, some people say as early as the mid-40s, the 1950s.
Oh, really?
But it escalated like in the 70s with the glyphosate that used to be Agent Orange. Now they spray on our food, and in order to the food to survive the glyphosate, they did genetically modified foods, and so that entered the market. So a lot of people, I think they're trying to do the best they can with their food, but if you don't know that your food is contaminated, or like I did for many years, I just stuck my head in the sand. If it was on the shelf, it certainly must be okay.
Me too. That's what I
And
did.
friends, that's not the case. We have to be diligent in our for our children's sake. So I just had a great grandchild. I did it all by myself. No, my grandson has a new baby, and what troubles me is the children that are born now is the first generation that will not outlive their parents. And it's like, wake up, we have to wake up. And so I'm on a mission just to share that with people, that you can change that. And a friend was talking today about epigenetics, and so that's true. You can be born with a predisposition for diabetes or heart disease or whatever, but it's what we do, the eating, the drinking, the sleeping, our behavior, what we think, that determines on which of those genes get switched on. And so we have the power in our hands. We have the power in our pocketbook. So if we want whoever they is, that has control over our food supply, our water supply to change, then we need to stop buying those foods that are damaging to our health.
Right.
And you may have heard people say, but organic is so expensive.
Right.
Well, that might be true, but have you checked out the price of healthcare lately? So healthcare is expensive. Not only that, all the time that you spend being ill, that you don't work, is also expensive. And so I work with clients to just make small shifts in their behavior so that they can live healthier and happier, and then pass that down to their kids, because our children, they do what we do. Right. So if we're sitting around eating McDonald's, and I'm not trying to trash McDonald's, it's just fast food, any fast food, we're eating that kind of lifestyle, then we're not getting the nutrient value that our body needs. So, like 2,500 years ago, Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine. And we lost that somewhere along the way. Right
exactly.
now. So if we eat, our 9 to 13 fruits and vegetables, and go back to, I really believe, grass-fed beef the way it's intended to be, we're just healthier all around.
Well, and my thought too is now, because parents are both working in the household, everybody's in a hurry. They get home and they go to the store and they have all these good intentions, and then the next thing you know, they're going, oh, well, it's okay, I'm just going to get this right now. And it's like, crap.
It's hard.
and,
it's hard.
And they do it because it's fast.
Right.
And they're tired when they get home. So, it's hard to break that habit. And I know you've got some good information.
Well,
on
the good
that.
news is, because money talks, right? I heard recently that it only takes 16% of the population to actually shift the way that manufacturers do business. And so we don't have to get to 50%, just 16% to change, and the prices then start coming down. And so there's more and more companies that are doing organic or non-GMO. If you have to choose, I would say choose non-GMO, but if you choose organic, you're getting non-GMO.
Right.
So organic has very strict guidelines for what can be in the food and what can't be in it. And is it perfect? No, I don't think there's any perfect food, because you still deal with the water and what blows in the wind and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's a better option. And what I found for myself is, when our family shifted to organic, my food bill, it's higher, but it's not as high as I thought it was going to be, because there's things I just don't buy anymore.
Right.
Because as you change your eating pattern, your taste buds change, right? So if you're not constantly eating the sugar or the high fructose corn syrup, or even breads, that type of thing. Not all bread is bad, but I'd lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Wheat.
Well, one thing I want to ask, since you said that,
Wheat.
so I have a question then. So if somebody was going to make a change, like let's say bread, for example, would you just say no bread, or is there a bread that's better than other breads, or are you looking for gluten-free? Because if you've ever gone to the store and you look at the bread, it's very overwhelming.
Well, I think with anything, if you say gluten-free, you still have to be careful, because it's still highly processed.
Right. Oh.
Right? And one of the things about bread is that everyone's gluten-free nowadays, and I personally don't eat gluten, but I often wonder, is it gluten that I'm sensitive to, or if it's the glyphosate that is sprayed on it? Because glyphosate is sprayed on the grain to make it die faster. It's a whole long process. So the wheat that we eat is sprayed just like a genetically modified organism. So I would say, if you're going to eat wheat, I would for sure make sure it's organic. Corn, I would eat that organic, or at least non-GMO. Non-GMO does not have to be as strict guidelines as the organic. So we know that with the organic, it's not intentionally sprayed,
Oh, so that's interesting. So just because it says non-GMO does not necessarily mean that it's organic.
Right.
Well, and then we heard today that it takes 12 years for a farm or whatever to be able to say that they're organic, which is amazing to me.
The laws around organic farming, they have to have boundaries, right? They have to have a certain amount of boundaries. They have to have a certain amount of that crop then will be conventional farming. But the challenge is the wind still blows and the water still moves.
Right.
So if as a society, if we don't start paying attention to what's in our air and what's in our water, it's all going to be contaminated, because the glyphosate is water soluble. So I'm not a biologist. I'm learning more about biology than I ever really wanted to learn. But evidently, the soil will, most toxins will kind of come around it and bind it. It doesn't do that with the glyphosate because it's water soluble. It just washes right into our water supply. And I think we're coming up to a tipping point. Is when is the fine line of when can we recover from glyphosate? So
Wow.
I would just encourage all mommies, grandmommies, grandparents, dads, anybody to just take the blinders off. You know, I know we all it's hard because
hard.
We're just two of us and it's hard.
Right.
So, but just be informed. You know, I do some workshops around town. So
And I've seen your workshop, and I learned a lot.
Well, we're
So-
gonna come back with Deborah again. So stay tuned because we have to do commercials and stuff like that. So stay tuned because we're gonna come back with Deborah, and she's gonna give us more information on her client base, who she's looking for, another tidbit or two, and then information about how you can reach her.